Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I think you have received my email about Adobe competition. It's a really cool one. I suggest to use your class project, join the competition. They offer a good amount of cash as a prize, and also internship and full-time jobs. So that's really a good one. And especially if you're looking for some job in the US after your graduation, I think that's a good opportunity. So any questions about your class? Okay, so this is your office hours. As you know, we have, I finally found a TA that I will post his information today. So in case you have some installation questions, you can reach him and he would go through with you guys. Also, you can use my office hours and just come to my office and see if I can help you your questions. Okay, so today class is about our pig experiment. As you know, it's one of technologies within Hadoop ecosystem that helps you to do data management. What I mean data management, something like SQL, like making queries and like working with the data sets. So instead of doing MapReduce by yourself, that is very challenging, use pig as a technology to just do those MapReduces for you. So working with the large data set is much more easier for you. So the big picture of today is you use your personal computer, you upload your files into Hadoop file system. Also, you communicate with Pig to do some data management. Pig and Hadoop ecosystem is built for a very large data sets, and also using several computers who work in parallel. So although we use MapReduce, but since our data is very small and also we are just running over one system, maybe it's not that much efficient. And you might have a question saying why we just don't use SQL. That's okay, but I mean, this is for learning purposes. So we are not very efficient, but we want to just learn how to work with pig environment. So as I said, pig is over Yarn, and Yarn is over HDFS. So through pig, you do some MapReduce executions that is basically would done by Yarn. Okay, first step, we need to download and install pig. And keep in mind that today class is, I assume you already be able to install Hadoop and Yarn. Otherwise, you cannot run the commands. At least most of the commands, you cannot be able to run them. So you should have Hadoop and Yarn already built in your system. As you see here, if you don't have Hadoop, HDFS and Yarn, you cannot do basically pig scripts. Okay, so I put the link. Please just go there and download this file, pig 0.17.0 tar GZ, which is 220 megabytes. Then unzip it, same as Hadoop. So I give you like a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes so all of you download and unzip the file. So I already posted some commands, so you can copy and paste my commands. To be able to run my own commands, your folder should be same as me. So within your C directory, make a folder of pig, and when you unzip those files, just paste all those files and folder in C/pig. So as I put in your PowerPoint, just download the largest one, 220 megabytes. while I'm waiting for you guys to download and unzip the file, just look at here. So the first step, you need to load your files into Hadoop ecosystem, then reach peak to execute some SQL-like commands. I was also thinking of doing through Cloudera Hortonbox Sandbox, but I think most of you are getting so much errors from that platform. So I think it's better to install it directly. So it's much more under your control than if you use Hadoop or Hortonbox VirtualBox. Are you guys be able to unzip the files and put it? Okay. So similar to Hadoop, so we should let Hadoop yarn and also your PC knows where are the files. So as you see here, first step, you need to introduce one variable, peak underline home. Please use capitals for naming peak home. So as I put in your slide. So here in the search box, just search for environment variable. So I pick the first one, go to environment variables. And just press new. New variables, pick capital underline home, capital. All the characters are in capital. Then the address is C/C:/pick. Similarly, then you press OK, OK, then go to your path address. So as you see, top here, I have a path. Press edit, press new, and okay. So when you press new, type C/pig/bin. Again, I'm not sure if you can see from the board, but I also, then after that, just press OK, OK, and just save. Then finally OK, and save all of them. So I already put the addresses. So one is you create a new one, pick home. The second one, you go to path, press edit, then press new, and add a new variable of C, /pig/bin. So by now we introduced two addresses to our system. So later when you run Yarn and Hadoop, all of them could find each other. So hopefully you won't get any error. So I wait like 1 or 2 minutes for everyone to create those variables. Please be careful about the addresses if you put some typo or mistake. So your Hadoop, Yarn, and Pig cannot find each other. The last part, do you see that I put the address? You go to C, pig, bin, pig.cmd. Initially, one of the addresses is Hadoop home bin. Change it Hadoop home lib exec. So let me show you. So C, pig, bin, and there's a pig.cmd. Just right click. You can open with text document or just here press edit. So here, this address should be same as me. So initially, it's just bin, but change it to lib exec. So So then you save and just close the text document or pig.cmd. You press save. So see, or they save it. So by now, we already had Hadoop file system and also Yarn installed, and we checked in one of our previous labs. Also, this lab so far we installed Pig and changed the addresses in our system, and also pigs.cmd. So now Hadoop, Yarn, and HDFS could find each other. I wait a little bit, so hopefully everyone would be in the same step. Okay, the next thing, we need to run Hadoop DFS and Yarn and Pig. So we do a step by step. So I put the commands that we had in the previous lab. So, but just keep in mind, when you search for CMD in your bar here, search bar here, it brings command prompt, just right click and run as administrator. If you don't do that, sometimes you get some access error. So just run as an administrator. Okay, first we run distributed file system. So start dash EFS. So you should see two, which is Hadoop data node and Hadoop name nodes. They should run. The next command is start yarn. You can just copy and paste. This time I just copy and paste. So I go to the first command prompt, right click and start yarn. So we do a step by step. First step, distributed file system. Second step, yarn. Then we want to use yarn capabilities. So the next step, just running Pig right now. So I put two versions of Pig. One is just a simulation, which is running on local system. That's faster, but we want to learn how to work in the Hadoop environment. So run the second one. So just copy Pig -exe MapReduce. Copy. So let me see if it's, yeah, all of them. Just check if all of these 4 is running. Otherwise, you cannot run. If you have issues in your HDFS or Yarn, you need to run the first one, which is just simulation, not actual Pig. But since for me everything is running, so I just copy and paste the pig-x.mapreduce, not the local one. So here, right click, copy and paste, pig-exe MapReduce. So as you see, is now my command prompt changed to grunt or grunt instead of C, /. Okay, so first step, I want to make some empty folders in my Hadoop distributed file system. Then I download basic crop production file, which is about some crop production in some states of India. Then I copy from my local system into Hadoop ecosystem, and basically then use Pig on top of whatever I have in the file system. So as you see, I put some commands for working the Hadoop ecosystem, look at the first one, HDFS, DFS. This is like, it should be at the beginning of all Hadoop commands. Again, I go to command prompt, search for CMD, then right click and open as run as administrator. Let's copy the first one, Ctrl C. And by the way, I put some text document in your folder, class materials, in case sometimes based on the fonts that you have of system, some of the commands might be changed. So if you see some errors, open this one. For example, instead of copying from PowerPoint, copy the first one, HDFS, DFS, and copy. So especially if you have some fonts from other languages, it could mess up. So copy the first one. So you look, I'm not in pick commands. I'm in a new command prompt environment. So right click, HDFS DFS mkdir stands for make directory, Hadoop files. Now I want to make a Hadoop files folder into my Hadoop ecosystem. Enter. Let's make another folder. So if you press on arrow keys, it just go to your previous command. So I press the up arrow key. Now I didn't need to copy and paste or type. I change it to class. I make another folder. So although I'm using Windows command prompt, but these folder will be created in my Hadoop file system.
System shows like MKDIR, like something's wrong with that.
So probably your Hadoop is not running properly. No, don't close. So let's show me the Hadoop. If that's working, it shuts down. Let's see what's your error.
I'm also getting error.
Access denied. We didn't run as an administrator. I told you right click and run as an administrator.
Also,
Here,
okay.
run as administrator. Okay. So close everything and run it. So if you get an access denied error, it's because I told you when you run command as administrator. Access denied.
1 second. I'm trying.
Yeah. Again, let me see. It's a very common error that you get. So when you type CMD, don't just click on command prompt.
I'm getting another.
Right click and run as admin. If you don't right click and run as admin, you get an access denied error. So what's your error?
Not sure. This is like HDFS. These two windows are fine.
So okay, so your issue is wrong. I'm not sure. It's in one. There's a software that is getting one item. Okay, so I just used two basic commands to create two folders. One is Hadoop files, another one mkdir class. So let's see what I have within my Hadoop ecosystem. So as you see, some of the commands are very similar to Linux or Unix. So if you already have those experiences, this command should be very easy for you. Again, I want to see my folders. So I type hdfs efs -ls/. So with this command, I can see list of all of my folder and files. Okay, do you see I have like three folders? One is Hadoop files, another one class. The last one just a temporary folder. So now I want to see what I have within my class directory. I press arrow key, up arrow key, so it just types, it just brings what I typed before. Then after a slash, I put class. So I can see what files I have in class, which I don't have anything, but let's see. It should just show me an empty folder. Yep, nothing. Also, please follow the step precisely as I told you. For example, if you don't run as admin, you get error. You cannot do the remaining. So please precise the steps that I show you. But no worries, I already put all the steps in your PowerPoint and also all the commands in this text document. So in case you get when you copy paste from PowerPoint, if you get any error, just copy paste from this text documents. So hopefully you won't face any like font or typo issues. Okay, so I just want to download a random data set, which is this time is a Kaggle open file, which relate to some crop production in some states of India as a country. So just copy this link, Ctrl+C, go in your browser, Ctrl+V, and enter. If you haven't logged in, it might ask you to log in, but I wait a little bit so for all of you to get to this point, but after that, just press on crop production CSV. And there should be a download button. Okay, I think the download is here. Yeah, it just downloads so fast.
It worked very well.
It's good, yeah, cool. So I guess the VirtualBox, I think it's just advertisement somewhere, or some of your friends' mic was open, I guess. So anyway, just download this file. Again, this file is in the zip format, unzip it in somewhere. So I wait for a few minutes so all of you reach to my point. So where did I put it? Okay, so I made a folder in my C drive, C/bigdata_class. When I unzip the crop production file, I just put the CSV file in. You don't have to have my folder names, which if you look at the PowerPoint, C/bigdata class. But if you change the folder names or you put somewhere else, you should also change the address. Otherwise, you cannot run my commands. Okay, by now, please go to the Kaggle. If you need log in, and download the crop production. If you want to have just copy and paste my commands, so put your CSV file within big data underlying class folder. I guess all of you guys have SQL class before, right? Okay. So for today, I just run a random SQL command because even that command takes like some minutes. Your assignment is just doing some basically SQL-like commands in the Pig environment. And you have 2 weeks, but I want you guys to do it through Pig. So basically, I ask you to download the movie lens dataset, upload into Hadoop, reach that dataset from Pig, do some SQL commands, then download the file and send it to me. So if you look at the file, there's some Indian state name. I guess if you have our Indian flows, probably knows what those like. I know Jammu and Kashmir. I know some of them. Uttar Pradesh. Yeah, I know just some of them. Okay, this is a state, district information, crop year, season. So what does Kharif and Rabi means?
Those are the type of crops
But
that are grown depending upon season.
So Kharif is a type name of crop?
It's a type variety.
Okay, gotcha.
Like the season, yeah, just like I mentioned, like it's based on the season.
Yeah, this is a season name or crop name, Kharif or Rabi?
It's a variety based on the season. The variety of crop based on the
Oh, okay,
season.
gotcha.
How that's it.
So also have crop name, area, probably farm area, and amount of production. Anyway, so as you see, I have in my local system, which is C big data underlying class. Again, you can just put it somewhere else, but you need to change the commands too. So now I need to upload my file from my local system into Hadoop ecosystem. So I already created class directory into Hadoop ecosystem. If you remember HDFS DFS mkdir class, this is my Hadoop folder. This is the address in my system, C big data underlying class crop production.csv. So the command is very straightforward. HDFS DFS just you have it just shows that you're running a Hadoop command, copy from local. So this is your local address. This is Hadoop address. So just select, copy, go to your command prompt, and just paste and enter. Yeah, it should be. And again, look at my command prompt. All of them I have administrator command prompt. So I want to check my file if it's there or not. So I already showed you the command. I give you the 1 or 2 minutes to try by yourself. Just check if the file is copied properly in that destination address or not. Do you remember HDFS, DFS, LS something? Yeah. I already put a cheat sheet here. So HTTP DFS ls / Ctrl C, command prompt, right click, paste. So look, like time and class folder, crop production.csv. Okay, so far so good. I mean, we're able to download the file and put it in the Hadoop ecosystem. Now we can use Hadoop technologies such as Pig to be able to run some SQL-like commands for like making queries or something similar. Again, if you want to in group of 3, maybe similar to what I'm showing to you, you need to upload the file into Hadoop ecosystem and run some Python codes on top of it. So if you are, and also I teach a cloud-based Spark environment. So just either one. If you're a group of 1 or 2, you don't have to do it as local system. So you can just use cloud, but I think it's a good practice if you learn how to do multiple systems. Especially if you get to a company that they want to keep their own data, most likely, I mean, they might have some several servers, and it's what you should do. You have a command prompt that you need to load the data in the Hadoop and just run commands. Okay, so you already run pig-x MapReduce. It just means we want to use the actual Pig environment. And look at my command. I think it's very straightforward. I'm basically defining a new variable of data set. I'm saying it's equal loading class crop production.csv. This is the address on my Hadoop environment. So also is a comma delimiter. So I just said using Pig storage delimiter. And also I'm saying, just keep in mind, I have several commands. For example, the state name is a character. District name, character. Crop year, int. Season, character. Crop character, arrow, integer, production, integer. For your, what happens, maybe you use, your data is in float. Like for example, 5.6. So in case if you are for your project or for your assignment, you need to upload another type of data, just Google Pig, maybe this one is Apache, Pig data format. So these are different file formats that picks up. For example, it float, int, long. So instead of int, if your data is like 5.6, here you change into float. But right now I'm just using integer. So this is the schema. So I have some, I think 7 or 8 columns. I put the data type. Also, I'm just saying what is the origin. It just means I'm loading the files or making the Pig prepared for a specific file with a specific format in a part of my Hadoop ecosystem. I think one of you had a question somewhere. Okay, sure.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, my question is about my system, so you can
So before running command prompt on this DFS browser, do we have to run all those previous things that we did, like page initiation and everything that we did previous on the command?
So yeah. If you haven't run Pig, you should do that. But look at one of my command prompts.
We have to run all those stuff before we can do all this.
Yeah, let me just find it. I think it's here. So I already run pig-x MapReduce. So If you see GRUNT, it means you are in peak environment. So what's the question? So go check it. Do it EFS. Okay. So check. Yeah, what do we have? Let me see, look at that. What is your C? So show me if you're on the hybrid button around. Shut down.
Okay, shut down here. Can I like just?
You know, they have yeah, it's just up there, so. Like, what happened? Get into the. Up there, somewhere. So, what's there again? See that? So what's this for? Just run it again. Okay. No, just restart your system. Say it cannot access to this folder. I'm not sure why.
Okay, so I just like close or like.
Close that and restart.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to let Pig knows where is my files in my Hadoop ecosystem. So just copy these lines together from data set to that last semicolon, right click, copy, and in front of GRUNT, so you don't go to the Windows command prompt, it's a Pig command prompt. So just paste here, enter. Okay, this part was fast because it's like a tuple. We just let Pig knows where is our file. But this one takes a lot of time. So dump data set semicolon. It's similar like dumping the files into Pig. It might take like 5 minutes. It's, you know, this is like, I have a very small local computer. I want to run into a huge MapReduce calculation. So it's not very efficient to run MapReduce on a very small local system. And again, no worries if you miss some steps. I already put the steps here, so. You can either copy and paste from PowerPoint, but I assume it could cause some font issue. So I think that if you copy and paste from text documents, much better.
During some data set is when you have this scaling and stuff, right? Like it already tried a certain amount of time.
Yeah, it's.
Then we decided how.
No, eventually would say it's successful, but. I think today I tried again, it took like 5 minutes for me. If you want, I could be your mentor. Yeah, but I think the due date is tomorrow, so just make the group quickly. So if you have another class with me, 5573, I think just put one, consider one of those projects because it takes a lot of time. So you don't want to divide or you don't want to double your efforts. So just pick the one that looks better and submit that.
And they're gonna teach you also.
I wish I do. I cannot promise, but I do my best. Oh, this year changed. I think previous years you could submit one of your class projects. So, oh, that's changed. Okay, I haven't read completely. I was thinking same as before. Okay. Yeah, if you want, you can consider that as your class project. I know you already have one submission, but you can change. If you like, you can do it as your final project. Yeah, I mean, I don't want you guys to spend too much time. That's a good opportunity, but if you already want to spend time for your project, just make it a little more for Disney. Okay, that's actually better. So you, for the rest of semester, you enjoy your time. Yeah, this year I didn't read it completely, so it seems they did some changes. So I should look at it again. Also, your TA would talk about Informs later. So if you join Informs, they have such opportunities a lot. So they have some competition, some internship opportunities, full-time job opportunities. So if you join Informs, you get these emails a lot. Especially for like top-ranked companies like Adobe, Nike, like Amazon. Usually they have hiring through Informs. And I think the student fee, I'm not sure, is it like $20 or $50 a year? So you pay the student fee and they receive this information regularly. And I think with that student fee, you get a journal, something like that. So I'm not sure if you have time to read, but they give you, I think, 2 journal subscription and some other resource. So as you see, we are working with the, like 14 megabytes data set. That takes forever. So if you want to do it in your local system, it's much faster. But this is like for education. So if you want work with the like 10 terabytes of data, your system would crash. But you can use Hadoop and still you can process it in a reasonable time.
So like, if this time, like, this even, work, then this for example, more than 15 megabytes, will it take like the same time as it's taking for like?
No,
15
it could be much faster because basically you don't use one system. Maybe you use like 20 systems to process it. So sometimes your time would be 20 times faster, sometimes not. But in the like ideal way, it should be 20 times faster. But so as you see, it takes a lot of time. It's the reason I don't teach Pig script in this class because it's mostly like SQL. I think the biggest difference is how to load the file and how to get your file back. So if for your class assignment or for your own project, if you need, just search for Apache Pig script. And basically, this is something like tutorials that teach you how to do some commands, like sorting, some filter queries, group queries for each. So they are basically similar to SQL. So these commands should be very easy for you. Or you can just Google like some commands in Pig. But this is like a starting. Or you can just script examples. Maybe if you search with examples. Yeah, here they teach you some Pig script, basically a SQL script using some examples.
They do start treating vegetables.
Oh, that's great.
Eventually it will.
Yeah, it worked. But you see now it worked. Just for me, it's done. Now it's just showing all the data set to me. I guess it would take like few minutes more from you guys if you have a slower system. سیاسی گجرات جامو کشمیر something like that. So the last comment is describe dataset. Just again, is nothing, just shows you the column types. So describe dataset semicolon. Yeah, for me it's done, but it might take more for you. So the last comment is nothing, just I already described my data set. So this one just return what I already described there. So right click, describe data set. So it's just a state name, discrete name, crop year, season, those kind of things. I assume you are still running, but let me go to the next command. So as you see, next command, I want to group my data set based on the state name. Is exactly similar to SQL group command. Then I dump, that might take a lot of time. Dump just means execution. So in describe, it's just similar to just show me the data types I have. So if you have done, please just copy and paste the first two lines, line by line together. For the first line, state. The first line is very fast. It's just like a tuple or a pipeline. I'm telling what is the next job. With the dump command, I just run the job. I know you guys know more advanced grouping in SQL, but here I just want not to spend too much time in SQL commands. So again, might take 5 more minutes to grouping. Yeah. So I think you're waiting for the next execution command. The name is dump, but it's basically you can read it as execution. So next step. So when I group my data based on the state, I save my query into Hadoop, then download my query.
So you need to stall now.
Hmm?
You need to stall it.
Yeah, I'm just doing a query group data set by statement. So data set is the data that I brought into my Hadoop. So sorry, brought into my peak. Then I'm just grouping by a statement. So again, if you forget what this group, just Google group command in SQL, and it's exactly the same. Again, don't close your Yarn and HDFS, just let them run, otherwise you cannot run peak. Just because, as I already said, Hadoop is on top of HDFS and Yarn. If you just close these two, you cannot run your peak. So again, I'm in page 13 of your PowerPoint. So I'm just grouping my data set by state name. I think I'm seeing some succeed news. Hopefully, it will finish soon. My God, it never finished. Takes forever.
It's just like, you know.
Well, let's review the next two steps. So at least, oh, it seems I'm done finally. Okay. So you look, I just finished my query. So you might see it's not that much efficient. Let's see the structure of the query. So I copied describe.state to just see description of my query because my query name was state. So as you see, it's grouped by state and just put the columns of my query. The next step, I want to look at the query later so I can save it into my Hadoop ecosystem. So I already created a file in my Hadoop ecosystem, which was /Hadoop files. And again, store just means saving. State is the name of my query into my Hadoop address, which is /Hadoop files. Let me copy from here. So copy. It gave me one error. Maybe my Hadoop is stopped somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, it didn't paste it. So let's see what's the error. Hadoop files already exist. Oh. Okay, it just told me the folder is already exist. Maybe instead of files, it seems that from my previous trial today, I already created. So let me just files to. You got same message? Okay, so change it to, let's see if I change it to files to, what happens? Yeah, just change it to files to. So here, instead of Hadoop file, just put another name. There's some weird noises, I'm not sure. Yeah, so for some random reason, they didn't let me to copy into Hadoop file. So I changed it to Hadoop files too. So for the next commands, just change all of them to 2. It seems all of the peak commands take forever.
Are these errors like it going through the file itself? Or is it just having issues connecting to the server?
Some are warning. I guess it just assumed there's several nodes, I guess, but there's just one node. So I assume these are mostly log files and warnings. Yeah.
Are you also want to show us how you get up?
How to work with GitHub? I'm not sure if I have time, but yeah, if I. But there's like a bunch of tutorials online somewhere. If I have time, I do it. But yeah, collaboration and taking care of the version of files that you're working. So when you work you check some tutorials. There's also they talk a lot about version control. Uh-huh. Yeah, Colab is another one. Like GitHub is the most common one. Yeah, it seems we are getting out of time, but the next left command it should be a fast one. I don't have time to run it, but you just the next is just copying the query into your system. So Hadoop DFS copy to local. This time I changed the Hadoop files to Hadoop files 2 because I already changed the folder here. Then I put the destination in my local system, C big data class query.csv. So let's see, now it's still running. Let me see if I files 2. It's funny, it's already in my Hadoop files too, but the still pig is running for some reason. So let's just run it. But anyway, at home, just wait all of the pigs commands finishes. So as you see, I'm just saying copy from my Hadoop into my local system. So copy here, paste. Yeah, let's see. So big data class query.csv. This is the query file that I have. So I made it as a CSV file. You can just save it as txt or other commands. So you can right click or just click and open. Yeah, this is the query. As you see now, I just have 34 rows. I'm not sure is it the number of Indian states or not, but So for each state, like Goa, Assam, it just put the query in front of it. Again, you have an assignment about movie lens, and I posted later, but basically you do similar. You just upload the file from your local, you download the movie lens file, upload in the Hadoop, run some basic SQL like pick commands, then you download the requery and just post it as your assignment. Any questions?
About the competition, so once we register, do we have to
Yes, if you want me to be your mentor, yes. Okay. I think there's another class, we ran out of time. So that's for today. I mean, the biggest part is just installing and basically running the pick commands. But the concept is pretty easy. If you remember SQL, it shouldn't be difficult for you. Okay, thank you very much and have a good rest of the day.